Okay, we are live. This is my first live broadcast in 2025. I hope you had a fantastic holiday season. I'm back in the saddle, started the year immediately through the Christmas holidays, ended up going to Bangladesh to our delivery operations center where we did our sales kickoff and presented the 2025 business plan. So excited. Yesterday was my first day kind of back into what we'll call the Zoomathons and ready to hit it. Okay, so here's an interesting topic. One of the things that I'm going to start doing, made a goal for myself in 2025, is I've always had newsletters and podcasts and blogs, but using whether it's a daily written kind of long form story or using this medium, which is going live daily, kind of telling stories of being an entrepreneur, being a founder, what it's like to live the life of the founder. And so you can appreciate the stresses, the pressures, the decision making that we make. And this is where we make decisions. This is why my business serves the founder community so well, because we get stuck with we get stuck in resource bottlenecks. We struggle with improving our gross margins. We have trouble improving our cost to customer acquisition. And that is, of course, what we do here at Get Leverage. So with that, today's story is failure. Failure on a personal level, failure or I won't even call it failure, but we'll also call it setbacks, pain, and how you continue to drive forward in a world that is really good at clamping you around the feet and holding you stuck in the mud, preventing you from moving forward. I'm going to start on a personal side, on a personal story. So I keep this photo next to my desk. I'm going to show it to you here. It's a photo I keep next to my desk, and I've had it at my desk since 2007. Okay, so this photo was taken in 2002. And in this photo, we're in my parents' backyard. I'm in university. We're all in university. We're in the final year of university, and we're having lunch and beers on my parents' back deck in their home in Manotick, Ontario, Canada. But what makes this photo so unique is that of this photo, 4 people in this photo are no longer alive and died in various different ways. But this photo, all of my friends kind of have copies of it, whether it's digitally or physical versions of this. And we keep it as a reminder how precious life is and how difficult things can be. And it sits here on my desk every day because I'll jump off a customer call, something will have gone wrong. Then I'll get a call from the bank, and then a vendor will stop doing something. And then we'll have, like, every single day as a founder, there's 4, 5, 6 things that you started your day with a plan, and that plan went awry. And the same goes on the business side or on the professional side. You write a business plan. You've got your quarterly rocks, and a couple rocks don't come through for the year. Whether it was partner issues, whether it was vendor issues, customer churn issues. And then all of a sudden the rocks start compounding that you stop missing. And then you miss your year. And now all of a sudden your board is on you, and the bank is on you, and the investors are on you. And it just starts to weigh in on you. So I'm going to just talk. I didn't even write anything down. I'm going to talk about certain things that maybe as I've gotten older, I've developed thicker skin. 2, I've started to learn to take things in stride. And one of the most important sayings that I ever heard, maybe I heard this maybe 5-10 years ago, watched an interview with Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks talked about movies that succeeded, movies that failed, movies that he passed on, all the opportunities lost. He said in this crazy interview that if he tallied up all of the losses, movies that he passed on, movies that failed, that superseded the revenue returns of the movies that he did that were successful. And so they asked, how do you overcome that grief of missing, the biggest movies in the world? And his saying is, it too shall pass, or something like that. Time, it too shall pass. And the concept is never get addicted to the super highs and the super lows. And that actually really hurt me in my first agency. When we had the super highs, I went on that super high train. I would celebrate the micro successes. I would buy myself things. We would spend ahead of sales. Like we would win a customer, win the Microsoft deal. It's $250,000 a year deal for multiple years. I would start hiring 3 employees, thinking like the snowball effect is happening. Like the revenue hasn't hit the bank account. It's just a sale. Yet we were spending ahead of sales. So we would ride the high too high, and in the low, I would allow it to manifest into me physically. I would look shell shocked in the office. I wouldn't eat properly. I wasn't exercising properly. And so the low would really pull me down. And so long of the short is that saying, it too shall pass, is what Tom Hanks is saying is that you are going to have in a given week, given month, given quarter, you're going to have ebbs and flows. And the goal here is to really expect that there'll be highs, there'll be lows. And you just take them in stride. The lows, guess what? In a week, you'll have forgotten. Like if I were to document right now, the worst things that happened in the year 2016, it's amazing. Like you could barely think of them. And I remember there were times where a customer was supposed to close on multiple Halloweens. This happened so many Halloweens. It was the oddest thing. My birthday happens to be Halloween. Multiple years in a row, we had many 6-figure deals that were promised to be closed and they never did. And I started to like really loathe. It felt like this repeating pattern. And I got sucked into that vortex. But instead, I'm starting to back up and say, this is just going to happen. You're going to win customers, you're going to lose customers. And as long as you're over time winning more than you're losing, don't get addicted to the wins, don't get addicted to the losses. That was number 1. Number 2, for me, that's really helped is to recognize that no matter what is happening on the outside, business-wise, professional-wise, or personal, the one thing that you can control is your physical health. And if you do not control your physical health, you will never be able to succeed long-term in business, and you'll never be able to succeed long-term in your personal life. And in fact, they kind of become a cycle. They kind of touch each other. And this has been a really important thing for me in the last 5 to 10 years is maybe I'm reading too much Peter Attia, book Outlive, but I want to live to 100 years. And I want to be executing at a high level in business in my 70s and 80s. And to be able to do that, I need to be able to physically be able to withstand the highs and the lows. And so I get up every morning. I swim every morning. I cold plunge every morning. I go for a 5K walk every day. I'm about to start lifting weights 3-4 days a week. I water ski 3-4 days a week. I downhill ski, cat and heli ski I ski every weekend, but then I go on these big cat, heli, and tour ski trips. So I am very physically active. I rarely get sick anymore. I can withstand 12-hour work days, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. I can bring energy to the calls. This is really, really important. And so I focus on the things that I can control. You can control the decisions you make and the actions you take. And so the action is I am going to prepare my body for war and battle every single day. And what will happen is it will get punched a million times in the day. I'll get off a call, a customer will churn, and then the bank will call and say, hey, we can't extend your line of credit this month. We've got to wait for these filings. But then a high will happen. We'll win a Bluebird deal. And then all of a sudden a channel partner will come out of nowhere and they'll give us a referral. But I'm not then running to the fridge and taking that energy and putting cookies in my mouth and then all of a sudden like getting on a sugar high with that high. No. Just even keel. And then the last component I think that's been really important is surrounding myself with mentors and mentorship, because, and you've probably noticed, like, as you get older, there's like the elder tribesmen in the, in a community, in a village, the wise men and women. Surround yourself with those that have already done it, and they'll probably tell you very similar stories, that in their 20s and 30s, they rode the highs and they rode the lows, and it really dragged them into the dirt. It burned candles on both ends, so to speak. And they learned to be able to recognize that there will be ups, there will be downs, and they've learned to become even keeled. They've learned to make objective decisions. And this has been a huge thing for me, is learning to pause, learning to sleep on an idea, learning to not read and react, learning not to force myself into an email, with the angst and the energy that you get this negative email and you feel you need to jump in, or you get a cold call and you need to jump in. Learning how to pause and digest it and realize, they're playing the sport of business, I'm playing the sport of business. Let's just back up. Let's think objectively, using a framework. And there's a couple different frameworks, what's called the 1-3-1. What is the situation? The one, what are your three alternatives? And then one is, what is your recommendation? And that fits into a framework of best communication called SOR and SCR. What is the situation, the challenge, and the resolution? Or what is the situation, opportunity, and resolution? Learning to articulate it in a structured manner. So these are just techniques that I've used. I need to jump off here in a second, that have really helped me be able to manage failure, manage personal tragedy intermixed with business difficulties, to say, it's going to happen. And so since I know it's going to happen, I'm going to prepare my body and mind for the fact that it is going to happen, so it's not as shocking as when it does. I hope you found